In today's video, I want to go over some exciting news on PlayStation JRPGs that have just been revealed. Falcom have revealed new details on the next Legend of Heroes titles, and they're hinting at PlayStation 4 ports of the Evolution versions of older entries that were previously released on the PlayStation Vita. I'll go over all of that, and you guys know I have to talk about this, given how big of a fan I am of the Legend of Heroes series, so we'll talk all of that. Also, Sony is looking to be locking in timed exclusives for the PlayStation 5. Exclusives are one thing, timed exclusives are something I am not a big fan of. We're really seeing this in the PC realm right now, with everything that's going on with the Epic Game Store, but it looks like Sony is also looking to get into play. At the very least, they're looking to get some sort of exclusive agreement, so they'll have exclusive content and third-party titles, but it looks like that the platform holder is also focusing on major big-budget titles in lining up both timed exclusivity, as well as the aforementioned idea of getting exclusive content. Next up, Days Gone patch 1.21 is also out, and it adds weekly challenges. We'll talk that at the end of this video, but first up, Falcom has talked a lot about the Legend of Heroes series. Of course, Trails of Cold Steel has wrapped up in Japan. We're getting Trails of Cold Steel 3 later this year, and hopefully Trails of Cold Steel 4 will follow up on that sometime in 2020. Falcom and Dengeki Online held on June 29th the Kiseki, which is Legend of Heroes series 15th anniversary and new title reveal special stream. The stream included Falcom president Toshihiro Kondo and multiple journalists working at Dengeki. The stream was mostly Kondo looking back at the series and also revealing various development stories. I'm not going to talk about that. I want to specifically highlight the idea of new Legend of Heroes games coming to the PlayStation 4. When asked if the Evolution PlayStation Vita version of the Trails in the Sky trilogy could come to PlayStation 4, he noted they're currently planning different things, so we should look forward to future announcements. So to me, whenever somebody says we're planning different things, that's like, okay, we are working on something, but we can't officially confirm it. That's usually what that means. He also noted it's a bit hard because of the difference of graphics between PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4, and do note that those existing titles, they are not at the quality level or the graphical level of the Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel series, and Trails of Cold Steel isn't even like that's a game that's visually incredible. But let's be real, who's playing the Legend of Heroes for incredible visuals or anything like that? We're playing it for the story, we're playing it for the characters, we're playing it for the great music, gameplay, elements like that. But he also noted that he's promising to make the older games easily playable in some way, and he mentioned how the staff at Falcom themselves are unhappy that past games are becoming harder to play. And that should be noted with some of the existing PC versions of these Legend of Heroes titles. You can get them on PC, however, visually, they're just not really up to par, and that is a little bit of a bummer. I wonder if it would be a little bit difficult to remake all of these games from the ground up. I don't know if they want to put that kind of investment. However, at the quality level of, say, a Trails of Cold Steel, I think at the very least that would be a lot more palatable to gamers, and considering you already do have the storyboard done and the story is in place, I don't know how big of an investment it would be to completely remake those games, but I do think that's something that fans of the series would be all over. But more interestingly, the Legend of Heroes series currently has 2 games in development. One is a spin-off like game for the Trails of Cold Steel saga, and that'll release sooner, and the other one will be a continuation of the entire series, and that'll be released sometime later. We have no idea on what platforms these are going to be released on, and it was noted that the second of those games will be the start of a new saga which will take place at the east of the Zemera continent. 4 characters so far have been revealed, and I'll leave a link in the description box down below if you guys want some more details. Also, this was a very interesting note. Dengeki PlayStation Magazine issue 677, the cover is all around the Legend of Heroes, and you'll note some iconic characters of the franchise, and then in the background you can see 2 specific characters with their back turned. Apparently those characters are characters that'll appear in the future of the Legend of Heroes. That's relatively interesting. A little Easter egg there, and apparently that was done as a little bit of a joke, and then the studio decided to stick with that and give us a little bit of a teaser. And also, Kondo revealed 2 screenshots from either of the 2 games currently in development. He didn't give us any more details outside of that, but that's something interesting to note as well. JRPGs going forward is going to be one of the prominent genres on PlayStation. Not only do you have these big blockbusters like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tales of Arise, you've got Persona 5 Royal, we talked Sakura Wars, but the Legend of Heroes is gaining a lot of traction as well, and I hope that traction continues to build as the games are being released on the PlayStation 4. But as far as new games, 2 new titles are in development. Maybe we'll see ports of the older titles that aren't available on the PlayStation 4 right now, but this series is very expansive, and there's so much to digest. For those of you guys that are looking to get into it, I would just start off with Trails of Cold Steel. I know some suggest that you need to play Trails in the Sky first. Well, you can't right now, so just play Trails of Cold Steel and you'll have a really good time with it. And Trails of Cold Steel 3 at this point is a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and moving on from that, speaking of exclusives, it looks like Sony looks to be locking timed exclusives for PlayStation 5. This is according to a Wall Street Journal report. Sony is looking to make deals with major publishers in order to put the PlayStation 5 in the best possible position when it launches next year. They claim that the platform holder is focusing on major big budget titles, and it's lining up both timed exclusivity and exclusive content to differentiate itself from the Xbox One, or next Xbox rather, and make it even more enticing to consumers. Now, this is something I don't think Sony necessarily has to do, and rather, I actually think something like this, if they do get a lot of timed exclusives and they strike up deals that way, I think that would be received pretty poorly. See what's going on with the Epic Game Store right now, and I think that should be really insightful on how games perceive you just throwing money at publishers to get some sort of exclusive content and really segregating these platforms to have this exclusive content. If you want to make first-party games and release them on your own platform or acquire studios, that's one thing, but just writing these big checks to publishers and having a game have a 6 months or 1 year timed exclusivity period, that offers consumers absolutely nothing. That just strips away Xbox players from actually playing a game for a set period of time, and nobody really wants that. There's no reason from a consumer standpoint that you would want something like that, because that only limits your options. From a Sony standpoint, I can see what they're doing, and I can understand it from a publisher standpoint. I mean, Microsoft even did it last generation. I point to a game like Rise of the Tomb Raider. That game came out in 2015 on the Xbox One. It took a year for it to make the transition to the PlayStation 4, and by the time it came out on the PlayStation 4, it lost a lot of its luster because it was already out for a year and Xbox One players had already played it, and at that point we had already gotten games like Uncharted 4, and nobody really cared about the Rise of the Tomb Raider release on the PS4. It was a great game, but nonetheless, and as far as exclusive content goes, obviously we've seen that many times in the past. Call of Duty, Destiny, Watch Dogs, Sony has stricken a lot of deals with these major third-party games that have acquired them exclusive content and did differentiate that game on one platform versus the other. That I'm a little bit more lenient to because it is just exclusive content, and let's be real, all of that exclusive content, is it really game-breaking or game-making? Not necessarily. However, it's still a case of content being stripped out from one version of the game over another, and it's just because Sony is throwing a lot of money at the publisher, and it really doesn't benefit gamers at all. I know that there are these console wars going on and whatever the case may be, and you can say, oh, I'm getting all of this extra content on my version of the game and you're not, but really for the consumer, what does that mean? What does that mean for the experience of the game? Is your experience getting enhanced at all? Not really. It's just that one party of gamers are not getting this content while another is, and that's not benefiting your experience at all. So I don't like seeing stuff like this in gaming. We're seeing it a lot in the PC realm right now with the Epic Game Store. Look at a game like Borderlands 3 that's going to be a timed exclusive on the Epic Game Store. It'll come to Steam later on, but does that benefit PC gamers at all? No, not at all. It just gives 2K Games a lot of extra money, and from that sense, from a business standpoint, I can see why it's happening, and at the end of the day, gaming is a business, and if you look at it through the lens of a publisher, you can understand why these deals are being made, but you should always be looking at it through the lens of a consumer, because that's what we are, and none of these deals being stricken are really the best for the consumer, so I digress on that. You guys get where I'm coming from. Lastly, one of the bigger games of the year in Days Gone has gotten its latest patch in patch 1.21, and it adds weekly challenges. They noted weekly DLC challenges. Surrounded is the first DLC challenge that drops. It's you versus an endless horde of freakers. Survive the horde as long as possible by utilizing your weapons, traps, and the environment. Increase the time on the timer by taking down freakers and maximizing your score. Each week on Friday, we will unlock a new challenge for you to master, and they're gonna confirm the day and the time. Earn a bronze, silver, or gold rank to earn credits to buy new characters, custom accents, and rings. Once you complete a challenge, you will earn that character's patch, and that'll be permanently shown on Deacon's jacket in both challenge and story mode. Free new custom accent has been added to our story mode, Farewell Mongrels. New trophies have been added exclusive to the new weekly challenges. They also noted some progression issues and general fixes as well. And again, Days Gone continuing to be supported a few months after its release is great. I know this game got kind of a mixed reception from a critical standpoint, but it seems like from a consumer standpoint and all the gamers that played the game, we all enjoyed it. Again, I don't put it on the level of a Spider-Man or a God of War, but I thought it was a pretty compelling game in its own right. One of those rare instances where I honestly thought this game was a little bit too long for my liking. If it was just a couple hours shorter, I thought that would have offered a more satisfying single-player experience, but nonetheless, it's a very good game. It just went on sale as a part of the Days of Play sale. I wouldn't be paying $60 for it all these months later. I would wait until, say, Black Friday or the holiday time, and I think by then it is going to be around that $30 range, and I think for $30, Days Gone would be a great buy. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, Falcom has revealed a lot of new details on PlayStation 4 JRPGs regarding the Legend of Heroes series. Maybe we're going to see PS4 ports of the older games, and 2 newer games are in development as well. Sony is also looking to be locking timed exclusives for the PlayStation 5, and Days gone, patch 1.21 is out right now. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.